Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Sunday, the 27th of June, 2021. I hope you're all COVID free and disease free in general. I also hope that your families are also COVID free and disease free. I hope that all your needs are being met in terms of food, shelter, clothing, and health. Blessings on those that work in the healthcare field trying to save lives of people involved with sicknesses and diseases, as well as those that are involved with accidents and those that have been shot and those that have been in all kinds of health related issues, those that are older that can't take care of themselves. Blessings upon the people that are trying to comfort them, the people that are trying to help them, the people that are trying to promote healing, even at the expense of their own health sometimes. Blessings upon them. Blessings also upon those that are out here trying to pick up garbage for us and make our places clean. Blessings upon those that make deliveries for us. Also upon those that are trying to deliver boys and girls and teenagers and men and women from sex slave and prostitution and child pornography. Blessings upon those trying to make deliver these children and these people from these situations, oftentimes being kidnapped off the street or lured from being a runaway or things of that nature. Curses upon those that support this industry and profit off of it, and those that pay for it to get done so that they can get their perverted pleasures off. Finally, blessings on those helping the homeless. 500,000 people in the United States alone that don't have a roof over their head, as well as millions around the world in even worse conditions. Blessings on those that are trying to help the situation, and on the homeless themselves, for theirs is the kingdom. Today is Sunday, so I don't usually do videos on Sunday, but I want to say, first of all, Knicks Nation, this is for the Knicks, because, this is the thing. I could care less about the rest of the league. I love basketball and I'm watching the playoffs and all of that. But generally when I'm watching, I'm always looking to see how it can help my team, right? And we've been on the wrong end of everything basketball related for such a long time. For us to be in the position we are right now is a beautiful thing, especially for those of us that have seen the Knicks in past glory. It's been a long time. And so this, as we're looking at it right now, for me, what I'm looking at, one of the most important off seasons in a long time for the New York Knicks. One of the most important off seasons, certainly in the last 20 years or more, actually. Somebody might say, the LeBron summer was big, but that's what I want to avoid. I don't want us putting all our chips and hoping for a player that we don't even know. They haven't reached out to us. We don't know if they're going to make this, and we're putting all our chips in that basket. I'm not advocating that, but I do advocate being prepared to strike if that opportunity presents itself. And this summer, the Knicks are. And generally speaking, and I know a lot of y'all, don't listen to the whole videos or whatever. So I'm saying things that some of y'all would hear and answer questions, but you're not going to hear it because you don't watch the whole video. But for those of you that do in Knicks Nation, I want to say this. I don't like speculation. I don't like speculation. I like things that are real, that we can control, that we have control over. Like we have control over our $50 million in cap space. We have control over unrestricted and even restricted free agents that we can go after. We do not have control over players that are under contract, right? So I don't like speculating about them because they're not free, basically. They're under contract and it's just speculation. But this summer, a couple of things have come out. And I believe one of the reasons this is more real in terms of speculation than other things is because of the season that we're in. Now, in the recent history, what you've been seeing in the NBA is the formation of, it started with LeBron, really, the formation of big twos and big threes. When teams are trying to get those two superstars or those three superstars to play on their team, to try to steamroll the rest of the league and dominate and win championships, right? So we saw LeBron get together with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. And that was really the first time you saw with three superstars like top 10 NBA players in their primes decided we're going to come to this one team and we're going to try to win championships. And LeBron had predicted like 6 or 7 championships for them. Of course, they won 2, I think. But the point is that he started a trend with that. And other teams wanted to get big 2s and big 3s. And what teams generally do is create cap space because there's a salary cap in the NBA. So they create cap space and put themselves in position so that if that is possible, they do it. Okay, because they have a shorter route to a championship. Now, there are other teams, generally smaller market teams like your San Antonio Spurs, right? Or your Denver Nuggets. Okay, your Oklahoma City Thunder. Times past where they don't have that type of revenue. They don't have that type of money where they could get that. But even that being the case, Oklahoma City still did it when they brought Paul George there to pair with Russell Westbrook. And then they brought in Carmelo, who was out of his prime, but they still tried to do it. And then they brought in Chris Paul after that. So they still try to do it. But generally, like your San Antonios of the world, they develop from within. They pick players that fit their system. They put a coaching staff together to help that player that fits their system develop within their system. And then they perfect their system, to the T, as Popovich does. He perfects the system. Miami usually does it also. They perfect this. Even after the LeBron year, you expected them to be gone after that, but they've still been contending because they have a system. Boston, I would have said before, but now there's so much of people, I have no idea how Brad Stevens is as a president of basketball operations. We know he was a good coach, but as we saw with Phil Jackson, that does not always translate to the front office. So I don't know what's going to happen with Boston. But with San Antonio, with Miami, you can kind of expect the same thing year after year because they have the same crew that's running the organization. And so you can know what they're going to bring. But the Knicks are now in a position to go either way. We can develop from within as we have started to do last year and showed it very well, or we can go get a superstar that might want to be traded. Now, a couple of things have come out. As I mentioned to y'all before, there are basically 3 entities that when these 3 entities in basketball say something, I pay attention to it. Adrian Wojnarowski is one, right? Shams is another, and then Ian Begley. Okay, when these 3 guys bring up rumors or say something that they've heard, my ears perk up because they don't just say stuff like Mark Berman does sometimes. Now, sometimes Mark Berman's stuff is on point, but sometimes he's just trying to sell, clicks. He's trying to get clicks. I would say, formerly you say sell newspapers, but it's not selling newspapers these days. It's clicks, right? So he's trying to create clicks for the New York Post. And so he brings up all kind of stuff, some true, some not. So I don't pay attention to Mark Berman when he brings up stuff. But when some entities say something, like those 3 people, I'm paying attention. And between what Wojnarowski said and between some things going on in the draft, this is creating a situation where we have to talk about it. So Wojnarowski said that the Knicks are going to be big game hunting, that they're not as interested in the current free agent market, and they may not be as interested in keeping all of their draft picks, which we know anyway, right? But when you say big game hunting, and what he specifically said was a disgruntled star. Okay? Like I said, if it was Mark Berman saying that, if it was some cat from the Ringer or the Athletic, I may not pay attention to it. I don't respect those people. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I respect Wojnarowski. So that means we may not be keeping most of our draft picks. They may take one guy and trade the rest of the picks or trade all the picks if they can get a disgruntled star. Now, who is the disgruntled star? Well, what I was doing, I was looking around the league, okay? I was just looking at all of the teams and looking at players on each team that we would consider game changers. Now, they're not everybody is a game changer, right? So, for example, if you're looking at the Atlantic Division, the Boston Celtics, if somebody might be get disgruntled, it could either be Tatum or Brown, right? Now, both of those guys, especially Tatum. But Brown would really be another RJ. Okay, we need somebody a little different. Tatum would be somebody different. I don't think Boston's going to let these guys go either. But, okay, that's that. But stuff like that, okay? If it was Brooklyn, say, and let's say Kyrie decided I want to go to LA and be back, I'm going make culpa and go back to LeBron and try to win another championship, which he could do. I mean, you never know with Kyrie. Then that leaves Durant by himself on the Nets. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But there's so much speculation. Ben Simmons, which we talked about already. Okay, Kyle Lowry, which we talked about already. You can name players on almost every team. Chicago, we know about Levine, right? Okay, Detroit, Jeremy Grant, right? There's guys, and of course, Indiana, Miles Turner. We talked about these guys, right? They could be any of them. So, and like Miles Turner would be a game changer. I mean, he would be, right? If he came to the Knicks, he'd be a game changer. So, I don't know, and I don't want to speculate, but what NBC Sports put out an article this weekend where it says that the Cleveland Cavaliers are looking to move Colin Sexton. Now, he is not considered a superstar. He's not. But boy, if we could get Colin Sexton. One thing about Colin Sexton, he's a dog, man. He's an attack dog. He plays hard on every play. You put him on the Knicks. I know some of y'all may not think so, but I'm telling you. You give us the same exact team with Colin Sexton. You take EP out and you put Colin Sexton in. I don't know. I'm just telling y'all. I think that makes something special right there. I think that pushes us to another level right there. Okay, I think it does. Okay. And Cleveland, we know, has the number 3 pick in the draft. There's also speculation that, and I can't believe this, but that's what I'm saying, that Detroit is willing to look at offers for their pick. That they really want the other kid. They want Jalen Green. And that they're willing to look at offers for the number 1 pick. I can't believe that that's the case, because I consider Cade Cunningham a generational talent. To me, he's the only generational talent in this draft. Maybe Jalen Green, okay, I'll go with that. But anyway, so there's all kind of things that could happen between now and draft night. And on draft night, I think it's going to be lit. It's going to be off the chain. But if the Knicks could end up with Colin Sexton, I don't know what else they might be going for. I don't know if it's Cat from Minnesota. I don't know if it's Miles Turner. I don't know who it is. There's certain players that you could just cross off. Like, Kawhi is not leaving the Clippers. CP3 is not leaving the Suns. So we can forget them. Okay? Luka Doncic is not going anywhere. They just hired Jason Kidd. He's not going anywhere. Okay? He's going to be there. So there's certain players we could forget about. Zion, forget it. He's not, I'm talking about this summer. He's not coming nowhere. There's no way. New Orleans is not giving up Zion, and he's on his rookie deal. We could forget it. Okay, let's be real. I mean, no. So when people talk about Zion to the Knicks, or Luka to the Knicks, or Kawhi to the Knicks, or CP3 to the Knicks, I don't even pay attention. To me, you just lost me, because I know that's not going to happen. But if you want to talk about Miles Turner or Colin Sexton, there's possibilities. And again, I don't understand why. I'm still having a hard time processing that Indiana would actually let Miles Turner go. I'm having a hard time processing that. They signed him to an $80 million deal, which is undervalued. He's a $100 million player. Okay? Can shoot the 3, can block shots, run the floor, play defense, do it all. Okay? So I have a hard time believing. But then again, this is the same organization that fired Nate McMillan, which I thought was absurdly stupid. So they could shoot themselves in the foot again. That's possible. And as far as what we would give up for them, the type of players, I don't know. I don't even know. But I want to tell you, if we keep our core of RJ, Randall, IQ, and Mitch, and we add Colin Sexton to that, we're going to be killing him. Colin Sexton, this boy's a budding star. He's just on a bad team. And he's a little wild. He is. But you put him in a defense led by Tom Thibodeau, and you put him in a coaching staff with Johnny Bryant. I'm trying to tell you, this kid, it would be a game changer. It really would. He's young. He's not even anywhere near his prime. And we'd be getting him at the end of his rookie deal, so he'd have to prove he's worthy of an extension, which he would certainly be trying to do. Man, I'm just telling you, I had to talk about this one because if Colin Sexton becomes available, that's going to be dope. I'll be very excited. So I'm going to be doing, of course, we're still talking about the draft. We got some players to talk about. I think Trey Murphy, I want to talk about next. I'm going to talk about Trey Man. We still got to deal with Jaden Springer. There's some things, we got, because we got options. But if what Adrian Wojnarowski said is true, which like I said, this is Woj. So I don't know if we're going to keep all it. Well, we know we're not going to keep all these picks. I'm just wondering, I just hope they don't trade them all. This is the draft you want to keep at least one of your number ones, because this is the draft. This draft is loaded. That's why I don't see any need. All y'all keep asking about trading up. There is no need for the Knicks to trade up. As much as I love Davion Mitchell and Moses Moody, right? And you'd have to trade up to get them. We don't need to do that. We could just sit at 19 and 21 and we would get two really good players. And if we wait and keep our 32, we get another good player. That's how this draft is stacked. It really is. I have not seen a draft this stacked since the draft of LeBron and Melo in them. That was, and I think Dwayne Wade was in that draft. That was the most stacked draft. And before that, it was the 96 draft where you had AI, Ray Allen, Marcus Camby, all of them came out in 96. That was a stacked draft too. And I think Kobe was in that draft as well. That was a stacked draft. And then the one with LeBron and Melo in it. And they had that was a stacked draft as well. This is the most stacked draft since then. I don't even know. When you get a whole bunch of high school players hitting the draft next year, it's not going to be the same. I don't think so. You're going to have a lot of potential, a lot of upside, but nobody that can come in and change your organization right away like some of these guys can. So at 19 and 21, you're going to have Trey Murphy available. You're going to have Jaden Springer available. You're going to have Chris Duarte available. You're going to have possibly Jared Butler available. You're going to have possibly Ayo Dosunmu going to be available. You got players. Trey Man. You're going to have so many options here. That I don't believe we need to be trading up. But again, let's talk about what happened this past weekend at the Combine. Apparently, the Knicks interviewed Trey Murphy, which they should. They would like Trey Murphy. And the reason I say that, if you watch Trey Murphy's interview, I watched his interview. I forgot if it was ESPN or whoever. And then I watched his video, his film. The kid he was academic All-America. He's no dummy. He's an academic All-America. And the boy can play. So you don't have to worry about him picking up the schemes on the defensive end. Like, remember with Kevin? Kevin has so much trouble picking up defensive schemes, even with Fizdale. Okay? That was a problem. And then, of course, there was his motor issue. With Trey Murphy, which we're going to talk about, I don't want to get too far into it, but there's some other issues, but I'm going to put it this way. He's a shoot off the bounce away from becoming really good and some strength. That's it. He can spot up, lights out, money, but he can't shoot off the bounce right now. But if he, and I'm not saying it's easy to pick up, obviously, but if he did, see, so they interviewed him. I have not heard them interview Trey Mann, but they interviewed Jared Butler also. And I think they already talked to Chris Duarte before the Combine. So, like I said, there's so many good players. I know y'all said, check out this one, check out that one. Y'all don't understand. There's a lot of good players in this draft. There's a lot of good players. Okay? After, you go from Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley, those are clear top picks. There's no question. But there's a bunch of guys after that. And you have to know in every draft in this mid to late first round, even sometimes second round, some guys gonna pop. They're gonna be some busts, but some guys gonna pop. And you want to get the likelihood of somebody becoming, not right now. See, y'all look at the stats right now and try to insert them in your mind into the starting lineup in the Knicks. That's not how you look at this. You got to say, okay, he's really good right now. There's some things he does that's really good. But in 2 years, what's going to be like in 2 years? What he's going to be like in 3 years? What he's going to be able to develop in that time? Okay, that's what you got to look at. That's what you got to look at. Like, a lot of y'all is down on RJ because you're looking at him right now and you have no idea what he's going to be like in 2 years. I can clearly see it because I've seen this before with other players. I've seen them come out like that. Because RJ has not only he already has the talent, but he's got the drive to want to be great and he wants to win. You can't discount that. You can't discount. This is not a kid that's going to sign his money and then start eating. He's not going to do that. And not only that, you can see just from his 19 to his 20-year-old season, the development. I told you, he's going to be a better version of Jimmy Butler. If you think Jimmy Butler's good, watch RJ Barrett. That's what I'm saying. And you got to look at that when you're looking at these young players. So I see in Trey Murphy an upside. And I don't know if he's going to be able to pick up the off-the-bounce jumper. We're going to talk more about that. But if he does, if he does. It's like when you looked at Julius Randle and you saw all the talent, all the natural ability in the world. This is a guy I think averaged 30 and 20 in high school. He's dominant. He was a man among boys all the time, but you wondered if he was going to put the work in to develop his basketball IQ, if he was willing to be more of a team player. He showed already this year. He is. See, some of y'all talking about he was exposed. Don't know what you're talking about. He's going to get better because he's willing to get better. He's willing to do what it takes to win. Okay? It's not about his stats. He's trying to win. Anyway, if we could get Colin Sexton. Now, Colin Sexton already is dynamic. He is a dynamic guard, man. He's only 6'1", but sometimes it's not the size of the fight of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And this kid, he can handle. He can play man-up defense. He can play team defense. As I mentioned to you, he's an attack dog. You know, he's an attack dog. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that with him. So I'm very excited if now this is the thing about it though. We got competition, even though we got the loot, right? But we got competition. And the reason I say that is because now you got Golden State now Stephen Curry is still playing at an amazing level. I mean, he's a generational talent. He really is. He's got already 3 rings. There's a reason for that. He is really, really, really good, right? You got Klay Thompson, also a generational talent in terms of a shooter and all NBA defender coming back. Draymond's losing a step, but he still knows how to play the game, and they play together. They just got James Wiseman, who's going to be in his second year. So I would not be surprised if they try to package their 2 picks with Wiggins and get another stud, man. I wouldn't be surprised. So we're going to have some competition. There wouldn't be competition for Sexton. They're not going to be competition for him, though. But anybody else the Knicks are trying to big game hunt for, you can believe Golden State's also knocking on that door. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a very, very interesting draft night and free agent season. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be interesting, man. Everybody's putting their chips to the center and I was mentioning before when I wanted to say was in the era when people are getting big 2s and big 3s, we're seeing a lot more parity. Because look who's in the final 4. You got Giannis, who they never really got a big 3. They got the closest they got to is Jrue Holiday, who's really good, but he's not like top 5 in the league. And of course, they developed Chris Middleton. They developed him. They got him from Detroit, but they developed him for most of his career. And so here they are. Then you got Atlanta, which drafted Trey Young, right? And then they got John Collins, who they drafted. They got Now they signed Bogdanovich, who nobody really was paying attention to him as that type of dude, but we kind of knew already in Knicks Nation he was, because we wanted him last year. You got him. Then you signed out of past his prime Gallinari. You got Clint Capella, and then you signed what's the kid's name? What's the kid's name from USC last year? Not Mobley, it was last year. Daggone it. But he's the best big in that draft from last year. But you get all of these cats, man. I'm gonna find his name right now. I'm gonna tell you who he is. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you who he is. You got Clint Capella, which we know about. Then you got Okongwu. That's right. Okongwu. Onyeka Okongwu. Really good. So they put together a team with no big three, right? And here they are in the conference finals. See, so there's a lot more parity. Then, of course, we know that the Clippers got their big two, right, with Kawhi and Paul George. But Atlanta Suns, they drafted Devin Booker. They drafted Andre Ayton. They drafted Mikal Bridges. Okay? Then they went and got Chris Paul to add to what they drafted. Here they are in the Western Conference Finals and on the verge of beating the Clippers with their big two. Well, though Kawhi is hurt, but that's what you get when you try to get a big two. Just like the Nets went and signed a big three, right? And two of them brothers been hurt most of the year, right? So that's what happens when you clear your decks to try to get cats like that. One of them gets hurt and messes your whole game up. That's why I like what the Knicks have done. We signed Julius Randle. We helped Julius Randle develop. We drafted R.J. Barrett. We drafted Mitchell Robinson. We drafted IQ. Okay, these are guys we drafted. Even when we want to talk about Kevin Knox, we drafted him. You still got to take your shot at these guys, whether they panned out or not. Or Frank Ntilikina, we drafted these guys. We drafted them. Then we signed a bunch of role players, y'all. I mean, really. Reggie Bullock, right? Like Reggie Bullock, but he's a role player, right? You signed Reggie Bullock. You signed Alec Burks, career role player, right? You signed these guys. You signed Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose past his prime. And we number 4 in the East. I'm trying to tell you, even if you kept the same team, but you went and added a dynamic point guard like a Colin Sexton. Imagine if we had Colin Sexton starting instead of Elfrid Payton. Lord. But I think the Knicks are going to do even better because I think they're going to try to get a superstar. I don't know who it is. But even if they don't, if we could get a Colin Sexton and a really good wing like a Norman Powell, I like that better than Lonzo. And I'm going to tell you why. Lonzo has potential. He's 23. Obviously, we know that. He can see the floor, high level, elite at seeing the floor and passing the ball, getting the full length passes and stuff. Elite on that. Really good defender. Improved his shooting. But I'm going to tell you what bothers me about Lonzo Ball. And some of y'all will agree, some of y'all won't. But I'm going to tell you, there are too many times when you're watching a game that Lonzo Ball is playing and that you don't know he's on the floor. That's what I'm saying. For a guy that's looking for $20 million, there's too many times when you're watching a game and you say, is Lonzo in the game? Because you don't hear nothing from him. He's not doing anything to affect the game that you can see. He's not locking anybody down. You wonder if you're on the floor, but I will tell you something. I'm going to tell you what. You tell me, have you ever seen a game that Colin Sexton played in and you said, is Colin Sexton on the floor? You know that boy's out there. When he's out there, you know he's out there. Because he's always a threat. Same with Trey Young, right? So you see Trey Young on the floor, you know he's out there. Because when he's got the ball, you got to watch him. You got to watch him. If you don't, he's going to kill you. As we know as Knick Nation, right? Colin Sexton is the same way. Lonzo Ball is not. Not only that, I don't want all that drama that comes with his family, man. I'm trying to tell you. That's the last thing we need is Tom Thibodeau having to answer questions about something Lonzo Ball's father done said. That's the last thing we need, man. I don't like it. I'd rather they go after Colin Sexton. I mentioned Devontae Graham. I still like Devontae Graham. Same reasons, right? But Colin Sexton is younger, more dynamic, more explosive. And like I said, you will never have to guess. Is Colin Sexton on the floor when he's out there? You would never have to guess that. And you want to talk about somebody that's got that dog mentality that will kill you. Colin Sexton once played 4 and 5 in college. Y'all remember that? He played 4 and 5 against a team. His team had fouled out. People was hurt. And he played 4 and 5. I don't know if he won or not, but he's dropped 40 in college. Dude. He's a country boy, but I want that country boy. We got a bunch of country boys anyway. Mitch is a country boy. Mitch is a country boy from Louisiana. You know, RJ is not so much, but Mitch is a country boy, man. You know, he's like that. And so is Colin Sexton. They will work well together. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. So anyway, yeah, I'm all in on the Sexton thing. I hope this rumor is true for NBC Sports, that they trying to shop Sexton because they're going to get somebody in this draft and they feel like they're going to start with that and keep Garland and then move on from Sexton. Let them do that because I want that kid. If we could get him, give me that boy. And so tell me what y'all think. Special edition of Raw Hebrew Remnant and Reppin' Knicks Nation. I'm gonna put the link to the NBC article in the description box so y'all can see it for yourself. I don't have the link for Woj. You could just look that up. Woj said it. You know, the Knicks are big game hunting. I don't know, man. We're gonna see what happens, but it's exciting. It's exciting to be a Knicks fan right now, and I believe that whatever the Knicks do, listen. As far as team presidents go, Leon Rose is the Don, y'all. You know he's the Don, right? He don't play checkers. He plays chess. He's Don Corleone on this thing right here. So I'm feeling real good about this. If it was just Scott Perry, I might be concerned, but no. Leon Rose is there, and Walt Perrin knows how to pick a player. So if we decided to keep a draft pick, one of our picks, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a good player because Walt Perrin is going to have heavy input into that. That's why they brought him on board from Utah. He knows how to pick a player. He knew how to pick Donovan Mitchell, didn't he? Now, all y'all are tripping because the Knicks didn't pick him. But listen, I think there was 11 teams that passed on Donovan Mitchell. So it wasn't just like the Knicks. A whole bunch of people didn't think he was going to be this. But Walt Perrin did. So we in good hands, y'all. We in good hands like Allstate, but we better. Have a good rest of your weekend. Be safe out there. Shalom.